I ran rough numbers, and I'm pretty sure that last financial year, the one that just ticked over, I made $502,000. Previous financial year was $408,000. So 100K growth.
Yeah.
In the last
based on the
months.
numbers we've tracked, that is accurate. I was looking over your roll rate of the numbers that we tracked, and that's definitely accurate, which means you earned something.
Oh my God, sick! That is so cool. When did you fucking make these? That's awesome. 500K plus an annual.
Proud of you. I think it's very rare in business you get congratulated for the shit you do. You're always congratulating your clients, so
that is. Why do I want to cry? That's so
it's fucking sick. I'm proud of you. It's really cool.
That's so nice. I love this. I'm gonna hang it in my office.
Good. That's what it's for.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, you've done very well.
Thank you.
Obviously, you've gone through a bit of a transition from like in person to now just running your business shit. Yeah. And it's paid off. So that growth rate has been not by luck, and I want to just make that very fucking clear. Not luck, hard work, marketing genius. You've earned all of it.
And I think the other really cool thing that we can note as well is when I originally started my business, it was all just personal training, online coaching. In the last 2 years, I've made that transition into business mentoring, and it's about 60% of my revenue comes from business mentoring now.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
That's huge.
Changing my whole kind of business, everything that it's grown like that. So thank you.
Welcome. Anyway, let's podcast.
That's so cool.
All right. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
You are a return guest, actually. I forgot about that. I think it's a pretty cool experience to have you in here because obviously you are running your own business stuff. You also run a business, and it's rare to speak to people that are talking the talk, walking the walk. Do you want to give everyone a little bit of an introduction? I know you're a return guest, but who you are, what you do, and all of that.
Well, the last time I was on here, we weren't mentoring together. So this is a year later, maybe.
Probably, yeah, just about.
Yeah, which has just seen heaps of growth. So I'm Kate. I'm originally by trade a nutritionist and online coach, personal trainer. In the last 2-ish years, I started branching out more into the business mentoring space, and now I coach women to build the body of their dreams and the business of their dreams.
Amazing. Does that cross over at all from clients to coach?
Sometimes, a lot of my online coaching clients, personal training stuff, will study to be coaches, which is really cool. And then that will obviously translate in, they start working with me, and then they move into the business side of things to help either launch their business or grow their business, depending where they're at.
Yeah, okay. Is that an intentional thing for you, or is that just it happened?
It just kind of happens. I think as well, I get a lot of feedback from my clients that I inspire them. So when they start working with me, they're like, well, fuck, if you can run a business, surely I can do it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's, I think one of the big things that I see at the moment, just in general with the transition from I guess, coach to business owner to business mentor, what do you think's been one of the things for you that's changed, or the way you approach business mentoring, seeing how other people have done it versus how you want to do it? What's some of the stuff that you do different?
I would say that I focus a lot so on the mindset side of things, which is very different to you. We always have this conversation, but I really truly believe that business is 80% mindset, 20% strategy. If you can't clock your mindset, build levels of resilience, you're going to have a really hard time building a profitable business that's actually scalable, sustainable, and gives you secure income, right? And that's what a lot of people usually struggle with is they get into business, they have no security, they have no sustainability, they get quick cash injections into their business thinking that that's going to sustain, but it doesn't. So more so kind of the mindset side of business, and then I do also fuck with the strategy side in more so an innovation way. I see a lot of people, especially in the online space, starting a business, seeing the gold standard of social media being that I just need to copy what that person is doing because it worked really well for them. But in reality, that's not how to grow a sustainable business.
Yeah, I think what you said there is very crucial, that the mindset stuff, the 80-20 rule, especially it's very true in the beginning. If you're looking to try and build scale, you first need foundation. And if you don't have that mindset, jump point, you're going to be kind of fucked at every point of revenue, whether it be 100K, 500K, or a mil. If the mindset's crumbled, everything's going to go backwards.
And then obviously we're not fucking living in La La Land. We need to have some sort of strategy where we can't just be I'll just manifest my way to the top. Like that's not reality.
Yeah, you got to work.
Yeah, reality is you have to fucking work hard. You also have to have the systems and structures to support what you're doing. But if you don't have that like slab of a house where you have a rock solid mindset, resilience, all the things, it's like good luck to you.
What are some of the things when it comes to your clientele in the area of mindset or strategy where they really struggle?
Resilience.
Okay.
Like 100% resilience. And this is something that I didn't realize I coached all of my clients on for such a long time. And then one of my best friends reflected to me. She's like, you're a resilient motherfucker. Like there's so many things that I have like copped in my business, gone through in my business, struggled with in my business. And every single time I come out on top, I say in quotations, because I'm resilient. And it's something that a lot of my clients struggle with is like when they get into business, everything crumbles them.
Yep.
Like they'll start, posting about their coaching, they start getting inquiries, then they get a week where they get no inquiries, and then they decide, fuck, this coaching isn't for me. I don't want to own a business. And it's like when you can actually flex your resilience muscle 9 times out of 10, you're going to build a sustainable business, but you need to learn how to build resilience first, because otherwise you're screwed.
How do you teach that? Because like devil's advocate on that like you and I have built resilience through failure. Like we fucked up and then we got better. How do you circumvent that? How do you skip the like go do the fail and then learn? Like obviously you're teaching resilience and they're getting better at it. How do you teach that?
Is getting them to fail.
Okay. Like
not
planning it.
Not in a planned failure of like do this and me sitting in the background like haha, you're going to fail at this. But doing things that push them outside of their comfort zone where they're kind of in a position where they have to just show up.
Yep.
So this could look like, doing a free masterclass where they've never done something like that before, and that is wildly outside of their comfort zone. And not that it's going to be a failure if only, 5 people come, that's still incredible. But it's like if they expected 30 people to come and then they've got to show up and potentially no one shows up to the live, it's like, do you still run the masterclass or do you just say, fuck this, I don't want to do it anymore? What's
your ethos there? Like, do you tell them to keep going?
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I've even had times in my business where I've like gone to do a live call and no one showed up and I'm like,
hey guys.
Cool. Hey guys, thanks so much for showing up. But it's like that's the things that build resilience. It's like how are you meant to continue growing your business if that tiny little thing of no one showing up to a masterclass for an example is the thing that crumbles you?
Yeah. My first ever like live teaching event, you actually were on it. It was like when I was still teaching skill set with PT stuff.
Yeah.
So I did like a programming course. Like Limestone level 1, and I was that nervous to, even though it was like I'd presented in person before, just a webinar, first webinar I've done, I was shitting myself. And I remember I pressed record, turned on, and it was only Pat and I in the waiting room. I said to Pat, I go, bro, I've got to go. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I've got to go do a nervous poo. And me being an idiot, that recording, when you post that recording, I just assumed it started recording from when the guests join. It doesn't. No. The whole conversation of me and Pat talking for 3 minutes saying how freaking out I was, how I didn't know I was prepared. Do I even know the content? It was all in the live.
I remember being in that course and this is my trauma of you calling me out live. Do you remember this?
Yes,
I was peeing.
Yep.
And I was like, I can't unmute myself because you will literally hear me midstream on a fucking live. Like, there is no way. And then I just awkwardly had to message you afterwards being like, I am so sorry. I could hear you yelling my name and I was just like,
can't do anything. Yeah. I remember I was like, hey, Kate, what do you think about this? Like, and I just threw it straight to you. And it was just silence. I was like, okay, Kate's falling asleep. Good. Moving on.
And then I was like, I am so sorry. It would have been funny, like filming both sides of that anyways.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, like you, especially with the live stuff, you can't control it. If you freak out on all the uncontrollables, you're going to be sitting there. Like your resilience project's just not going to move.
No. And I also think as well, when we think about coaching, reality is you only need to be 5 steps ahead of the people that you're coaching. So like,
tell me about that. Why 5?
Or 1 step, whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. Either or.
Just
1
ahead.
to 5.
Just ahead.
Yeah, you just need to be just ahead because reality is when we sit and we talk about coaching, for example, like personal training, fitness, when you're talking about the importance of protein, you think that this is boring content, it's the importance of protein. But somebody else who doesn't know that, who is your ideal client, is actually listening to that being like, oh my God, I never knew this. This is something new. And it's the same, like whenever I do like a live thing, I'm like, oh, am I going to give them enough information? And then I'm like, well, reality is like, I only need to be 1 step ahead of them. And whatever I say, there is going to be something in there that will be of value.
Yeah. Do you have like, when it comes to a live stream from a strategical perspective, because you know how I like to run these podcasts, I like to give people stuff to do. Is there a little bit of a checkbox or something that you try and map out if you're trying to get someone to do their first masterclass? What is the things they need to tick off?
So first thing they need to tick off is they need to understand who their zone of genius and dream client is and what they want the outcome of that masterclass to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying like the outcome of, you know, people coming in and having that transformation. I mean the outcome from a business lens of if I'm giving you a task to do a free masterclass, what outcome do you want that to help with in your business? E.g., it's a free masterclass, people come in, on the end of that you're selling one-on-one coaching, or you're potentially getting people to move into a funnel which then nurtures them into building your business or whatever it is, right? So it needs to be some sort of outcome, and they need to understand their dream client and be tapped into their zone of genius.
Okay, tell me about zone of genius.
Oh, this is like my bread and butter. I love zone of genius, right? So I think when everyone thinks to building a coaching business, they think to having a really strong personal brand. And there is a lot of business coaches and people in the online space that will tell you, and I've been victim of saying this before as well, is that building a strong personal brand, what builds that? Your personality, you being unique, which whilst that is important and true, we all have our unique personalities, tonalities, all of the things. I think it's more important to understand what your zone of genius is that actually makes you different from the next coach in line. E.g., if you're a fitness coach and you specialize in weight loss, so does every other fitness coach, right? So what is going to make you different? Maybe you actually really know a lot about body image. Maybe when your clients come to you, all of the feedback you get is about how you change their body image and their eating disorder behaviors and all of the things. It's like tapping into that as your zone of genius means that then you can cater all of your content more directly to the people that need your help, e.g. your dream client.
Yep.
And
so
not just falling into the noise.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when people talk about niching. Niching is the client experience.
Yeah.
Zone of genius is the business experience where you're actually speaking about your niche topic of expertise.
And then also there's other things that come into that of like growing a business, like brand positioning, I think is really important as well. Like, how do you want to be seen in the industry? Do you want to be a leader or do you want to be an influencer? Do you want to be seen as like the person that is the go-to? That when I think of growing a business, I think of going to Rhys or I think of going to Kate or whoever it is. So it's also about brand positioning, like what you post on your stories influences where your brand sits in the industry. What you post on your feed influences where your brand sits in the industry. It's all a perception thing.
I think the perception note is a very, it's a deep topic, it's a big topic, but not falling too much into the perception being just numbers and views. But it's like the long-term game of what does that do for your brand, and what, like, brand is a long game, but the short-term wins, rather than measuring the wins of perception in viewership, but like what's your click-through rate, what's your conversion rate, what's your bank account? Like, you could be getting, and I've mentored a lot of people that, you know, get thousands of views, they'll get viral videos and their bank account doesn't change. Like, you're measuring the wrong things. The vanity metric means nothing. The perception may seem high, but in reality has no like crossover to actual business. No. I think where what you said there is knowing the outcome of like, what are you actually trying to get from that masterclass, for example? Is it a click-through rate? Is it into a funnel? Is it a sale? Like, what is the outcome, but actually tracking the outcome? Because knowing and tracking are two different things. And that's something we've spoken about a lot, is like, there are a lot of business owners out there that will just say like, yeah, cool, we've got a lot of people on that masterclass, but how many people bought and how are you tracking that purchase process? Very big difference. And
also the nurturing process of that. Like, how are people coming in? Are your systems really clunky and shit where it's like a turn off for people? Because when I think about me applying for a coach, like, you know, if I'm having to click through 40 different inquiry forms and read long things upon long things and answer 50 questions just to inquire about a price, I can tell you now it's not happening. It's like, if I can direct message you and you go, this is the price, great, sign me up. Send me the link, I'll pay it. But it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things that come into it, but like outcome and making sure that the data that you're trying to pull, you actually pull it and reflect and audit it as well.
Yeah. Not just accept it.
Yeah.
Like, I can make changes on this data rather than just go, oh, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's the same thing with like lead generation, right? You're probably the same. You probably get asked all the time, how do I increase my lead gen? How do I increase my lead gen? And I have maybe a little bit of a different perspective on lead gen, but I always look at lead generation. If you have an online business, your lead generation comes from your content creation.
I agree.
If you're, great. We
when it comes
something.
to lead generation, there's like, your only real core way is just expand your audience. It's awareness. You can just increase your awareness. That's it.
And like, if you've got shit content, you need to be able to audit your social media and do better. But a lot of people refuse to look at that, and they try to find the magic pill to more lead generation through
They're just trying copying everyone.
Yeah. Or even through like, people who don't have established business running Facebook ads or Meta ads.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's wise.
It's why are you spending money when you're not making money? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. What's your thoughts? I think that's the whole spending money when you're not making money. That's a big hole. There's a lot of people nowadays when they launch a business, they come straight out the gates with a business launch. They'll have a launch party and they spend thousands of dollars because they think that's going to be the thing that attracts clients. Do you think it does? And if so, why? If not, why?
Look, I do believe that you need to invest money to make money,
Absolutely
aka I invested in your mentoring because you have a skill set that I didn't think that I possessed that I need help with, right? And you're also going to call me out. You're going to make me do things that make me feel uncomfortable. You're going to hold me accountable, right? So you do need to invest to make money. However, you need to invest in the right things. So to me would be having like a crazy launch party, spending thousands of dollars on a videographer and doing all of the things without having any sort of cash flow in your business at all a smart idea? Probably not. I would use that money on hiring a mentor or doing a short course or learning how to skill stack.
Yeah. I think even just in the world of like, I actually spoke to someone last week. They spent $8,000 on a launch. New business. No audience, no clients. Service-based business, online coach, right? First entry into the industry. And we're not even talking like influencer spec where they've got a large following. We're talking like bare bones, starting from the ground up. I'm going to go do a photo shoot, do a party, get all the videographer, hire the food, do the catering, give all the people that show up gifts, $8,000, right? If they just took that $8,000, now I'm not the paid marketing guy. I think paid marketing, there's a time and place, but do it later. If you put $8,000 into one ad, you'd get more leads.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? They'd be shit leads, but sure.
Yeah.
Like, $8,000 on a videographer when you're just starting, it's like people don't care who you are. Like the fact that you're in your photo shoot era, people don't even know who you are. That's not going to be the thing that gets them to know you.
Lack no trust.
Yeah.
If you can build trust and connection, you're going to have a flourishing business, but you need to give yourself time to build that trust and connection.
How do you go about building trust and connection with your clients?
So I think for me, I am probably more of like an open book. I have never really, as you know, I don't really have a filter. Not really in my forte.
Good.
So I think a big thing for me is just like being my authentic self, and I always have on social media. I mean, I've had my social media for like 8 or 9 years now. And it's just been growing and growing and growing, but through authenticity. So I will say how I feel. I will say my opinions, even if they're a little bit controversial, even if they're going to trigger people. It's like, if I believe in something, I know that there's going to be people out there who are also going to believe in that as well. And I did go through a period where I was like lost in my identity, not knowing what to post, not wanting to be judged, the fear of failure. But now I'm pretty like solidified in, this is how I run a business. If you want my help, here you go.
Since going down that road, have you noticed a big difference in the clients you attract, but also the money you make?
In terms of what?
In terms of being more like I think the word like being your authentic self gets thrown around a lot. And it doesn't often get quantified in some sort of like, what is the result of doing that? Going from, let's say, being neutral, being Switzerland, being scared that people will judge you versus now, fuck it, I'm just going to say what I want. Have you noticed an increase in revenue and increase in better clients?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And also as well, I've noticed that the clients that I'm attracting are more their authentic selves as well.
Which makes them easier to coach?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that from a business perspective or even just in coaching, like personal training coaching and businesses as well?
More so just business.
Yeah.
Like personal training and online coaching, I feel like I naturally just like that just grows in the background for me quite naturally.
Yeah.
And I think that's more like reputation,
Word of mouth.
years of building name, word of mouth, all the things.
Yeah.
But business wise, I find it really interesting. So when I first started coaching, and this is also something that I see in the industry a lot, is a lot of business mentors make their clients their mini me.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
Right?
fucking oath, yeah. Carbon copies.
And then all it is just like everyone's regurgitating the same shit. Nobody stands out. Again, you're not in your own zone of genius. You're falling into the noise that is social media.
I think you fell into that at the start.
Yeah, I absolutely did, because I was finding my feet in business mentoring. I was like, cool, I know that this is what I want to do, but where am I going to stand?
Yeah,
now I'm like,
so I don't call you out on that for a bad thing. I call you out on like to show there's a transformative process that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if that's the step you take to enter, like, okay, cool.
Absolutely, 100%. And now it's like you find your feet, and then you also reap the reward of that, of being able to be yourself, where people are either magnetized to you or you piss people off, whatever.
Yeah. I think that kind of like feeds into the place where a lot of coaches will just look at other coaches, or even in the world of business mentoring, I think it's just business in general comes across the board. We just start copying other people because we think that's what's working. What's your thoughts on that? How do you, like, where do you stand?
I think if you're to hire a business mentor or you're looking at someone else's business and you're just copying them, all you're doing is being a walking promotion for that coach. So
I've not thought of it that way.
You are not actually building your brand. You're not building your positioning in the industry. You're not building your bank account, your impact, any of it, because all you're doing is you're just promoting the coach that you're working under, or that you're wanting to necessarily be like, whether you're hiring them or not.
Yeah.
And I see it happen all of the time, and you can pick it. Like, you can see it straight away and go, well, this person's working with this person, or they've done a course of some sort, because they're literally creating the same program with the same colors and
the same Canva templates,
everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not helping you stand out. It's actually you just falling into the noise again.
It's interesting you say that, because like having had like I guess a less bird's eye view, a more like granular view of your business now. It's funny when I see people, then I can recognize it now, that like there are people that are like copycat Kates, right? And that I know that you haven't worked with, right? And I can recognize it. I don't actually think of their brand. I go, oh, that's Kate's brand straight away.
Yeah.
And like, whether that's because I recognize the intricacies on the back end, or whether it's just subconscious programming that, oh, that's the way she does it. And knowing that they haven't worked with you, I just know that they're copycat versions of trying to do what you've done because they've seen your success. It's very interesting, because I've never realized that, like, I don't actually think of their brand when I see that. I think of yours.
Yeah.
It says a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's also just a silly way to run a business. Like, you can't look at someone else's business. You can look at other people's business and be inspired.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I looked at your business being like, holy shit, like, this is next level. And that inspires the shit out of me to work hard.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to become a mini Rhys in the process of doing that. It's like,
No.
I can still have my own tonality and do my thing, but be inspired, hire that person and learn from them.
Yeah. And there's obviously, like, it's the game of leapfrog. You can take things, go, yeah, I want to do that, but I want to do it my way.
Exactly. I think the thing that annoys me, if we're getting into like irritations in the industry, is I don't care if people copy my things. Like, I'm very much like, if somebody's copying my stuff, I truly believe that I've inspired them, which means they're going to try and build a business or do something good, which is incredible. The thing that fucks me off, though, the thing that really grinds my gears, is when things are copied word for word, but they will not invest to work with me.
Yeah, that's
so it's like, you're taking all of my intellectual property, which I've seen multiple times. I don't even see it. People send it to me on the weekly.
Yeah.
Taking my intellectual property, trying to make sales and run a business like that, but you refuse to work with me. And if you just came into my space, you would actually learn how to do it in your own way.
Yeah,
and
you
make
get coached
more money.
in a way that it is authentic to you. You can take all my, it's like the theory and implementation. You can take the theory and I'll help you implement it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than just going through my email copy and copying everything.
Exactly.
Like signing up to my mailing list on your fake account and then just copying everything. It happens.
Or signing up to my mailing list on your real account, and then I'm also on your mailing list and me getting the same email word for word.
Wow.
Yes, that has happened before.
Fuck. Yeah, that surprises
It's a
me.
wild world out there, guys.
Yeah, wow. What's your thoughts on the, I guess, landscape of business at the moment? You work with largely service-based businesses, yeah?
Yeah.
What are the main struggles that people are having, and where do you see things going at the moment for service?
I think probably one of the big things that a lot of people fall victim to is the whole cost of living. And don't get me wrong, I'm not naive that the cost of living is fucked, right? We know that, right? It's expensive. But also as a business, and we were saying before we started recording about this, it's you need to be able to adapt, right? Like when I look at 2020, for example, where my business was there versus where it is now is completely different. And even the way that you sell needs to be different. The way that you speak about your products, your offers, your services, it all needs to be different. But if you're not willing to adapt and move with the times, then yes, you're going to be left behind.
Yep. I think if you look at it, like, you're very right. One of the biggest issues that I see as well is like the cost of living issue. Like the amount of clients that I'll have that say like, oh, just clients leaving, cost of living. It's like you being the victim to that allows you to just sit there and say, it's not my fault. Whereas
it's an easy way out.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like you can't control that. If you relinquish the control, you relinquish the change.
Yeah.
And learning that, I think just the big thing of like, if the cost of living is the problem has been here for over a year. Like shit's been expensive for over a year.
Since 2020, I feel like as soon as interest rates bump back up.
Correct.
How long's that been? 2 years?
Probably, yeah, about probably 18 months.
Yeah.
Like it's been here now. It's like saying that in 2019, our clients are living because of COVID, and then still saying it in 2021. Like,
literally,
like fucking fix it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, sure, it's here, and you can't control the cost of living, but you can control your product, you control your value, and you control the positioning deliverables.
Absolutely.
How have you kind of started to try and combat with that with any of the people you're working with? Is it a positioning thing? Is it a pricing thing? Is it exclusively just charge less? Like, what's your thought process?
I don't think charging less is the answer.
I agree.
Like, regardless of cost of living, I still like the cost of living thing is very prevalent, but also we're living in the 21st century where there is multimillionaires left, right, and fucking center.
Yep.
All around us, right? So, and we're also living in an era where it's the easiest time to make money. Like, we have social media, we have an online platform that you could start leveraging if you wanted to. So I don't think cutting your prices is ever the answer. I think it more comes down to brand positioning and also the way that your audience perceives you. So if they perceive you as somebody who is educated, valuable, a leader, the go-to in your industry, you're going to make sales a lot easier in your business. But like, if you're seen as the person who is always cutting your prices, doing 50% off end of financial year sales, it's like that is downgrading and watering down the value of your products.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Last workshop I did, last big workshop, when you were in here, it was around that end of financial year sale time. And I said straight out the gate, I was like, anyone in this room that's doing a fucking sale, you're dumb, and I'm going to prove it why by the end of the day. You laughed because you knew. Other people in the room were like, what do you mean? And it's like, it's exactly that. When you start discounting, you train your audience to only buy on a discount. It's the exact same in e-com. Like, you position yourself as the person that has margins that can be reduced. Like, why would you do that?
I did that. That was actually one of my biggest mistakes when I started my coaching business, is I ran on the fact of doing early bird sales.
Yeah.
Early bird. And don't get me wrong, they can position you well in a sense, but also if you're only making sales from early bird, you put yourself into a very small bracket unless you're smart enough to increase your early bird to make the profit there.
Yeah, that you have to inflate.
Yeah. And I did that at the start of my business, nearly 2 years ago, where it was just only selling on early bird. And then I was like, why are people not buying at full price? It was
because you're over leveraging that FOMO where everyone that you were marketing to bought at the cheap rate.
Exactly.
And there's no one left.
Exactly. And then I was like, no, this needs to be refined.
Yeah. And there's a big difference there too. There's a caveat. You doing the early bird, whilst, yeah, sure, you did it maybe in a less good way, it was not completely shit because of the thing you were selling somewhat productized, right? It's not coaching week to week where like most of your audience, especially at the time, were personal trainers trying to build a personal training business. If the personal trainers out there running an online business, if all you're doing is consistently making your product cheaper, that's your time.
Yes.
When it's productized, let's say it's a course, when it's access and there's maybe monthly time, it feels less important because you can leverage that and inflate as well. It's very easy. But if it's just your service that is normal and you're discounting it, all you're doing is discounting time.
Yeah. And it also just positions you as somebody who doesn't know what you're doing. And this is this is a prime example that I give my clients whenever we're talking about like price positioning, right? Or figuring out what they should be charging.
Yep.
It's like, don't be the Aldi of the industry. So when you think the Aldi of the industry, when you think of Aldi, you think of like cheap and nasty. No hate to Aldi. I love Aldi, whatever.
Yep.
But you think of cheap and nasty. You think of like maybe not the freshest cuts of meat, not the freshest produce, whatever. When you think of Woolies, you think, oh, it's going to be fresh. I know all the brands. The brands are like what I like, know and trust, all the things. So when you're starting to price present, if I was to charge $40 a week or $30 a week for online coaching, and I graduated at the same time as somebody who's charging $90 a week, automatically people will look at your pricing and go, the $40 a week girl doesn't know what she's doing. I'm more likely to trust the $90 a week just from your price positioning.
Yep. And all the people that want to buy on the 40 are the people that want the deal.
Exactly.
Right? Like they're the people that are deal hunting, they're bargain hunting, they're scouring through the Aldi, whatever they're called, catalogs.
Yeah.
Like, where do I go? What am I going to do? You attract a certain type of person, which don't pay you long. They want the cheap product and they don't put the effort. Say it as it is.
And then your retention's down the drain and it's like a vicious cycle.
It's interesting. Whenever I do a workshop, one of the things I like to do, pretty sure I did it when the last one you were here, I get the average price point of the room. So normally I put a QR code up on the room. I go, cool, everyone scan this, put your weekly rate in here, and that automates over to a spreadsheet, tells me the average of what the like weekly charge point of the room is. Now I've done that to over 500 businesses now. And it's so funny to say that the average is just north of 85 a week for an entry-level PT, less than 2 years in the industry for an online service.
How interesting.
Right? So for people at home, if you're listening, you're sub 85, you're already positioning yourself as less than average.
Yeah.
Who wants to be less than average? When you put it that way, it's like being the cheap person, even in a cost of living crisis, positions you as less good. Just straight away, no matter, and there are people that have been in the industry 5-6 years that are charging less than that. What are you doing?
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, the reason people do this is because they panic that they're not getting leads, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, if I cut my price, people are going to pay me, it's going to be easier. But then the reality is it's like, you're not looking, you're just band-aiding the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually that devil is going to pop its head up again and you're going to fall into the position of, I'm not getting leads again. It's
so
like,
you have to go cheaper.
Exactly.
It's a race to the bottom.
Yeah. And then it's like, where do you go from there? Instead of looking at brand positioning, content creation, and the things that will actually build leads into your business, you just discount, and then you're fucked.
Yeah. So the only way to win that game is to actually win and be the cheapest. Like go straight to the bottom.
Yeah.
Be $10 a week and just get the volume and undercut everyone.
Yeah.
If you're not going to undercut everyone, don't play the game.
Yeah.
And I think something you said there as well is like, the devil's going to keep rearing its head. The problem there is because you're marketing to the same people. Right? Unless you're getting hundreds of new followers a week where they're not used to your offers, if you've got your same 5,000 followers sitting on your Instagram, they're used to your offers. So if they haven't bought the last one, why would they buy the next one? Unless it's cheaper. It's only if your market is growing that you can get away with just continuously doing the same, hey, July offer, August offer, September offer, because it's new people.
Yeah.
If you don't have new people, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah. And also as well, back to the cost of living situation, this is a question I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Cost of living, has your business suffered or struggled?
No.
Same.
We've got an average price point of $135 a week. The way we price out is $850 up front into our average is $160, I think. But $850 up front first 4 weeks and then pushes into $135 a week. If clients pay it. And our client is 90% Gen Pop. So no.
Yeah.
We've had a higher churn, granted. Like we normally average out at 11% churn rate attrition.
Yeah.
Of the last 3 months, that's pushed up to like 18%. But we have the acquisition that can solve, like it circumvents that. We're way up on acquisition than we are attrition. So we don't notice it. But no, acquisition, we haven't seen a slowdown. We've seen a slightly increase in attrition, but with our price point, it's expected.
But how interesting is that? So like everybody who's potentially listening along being like, my business is fuck cost of living. It's like, maybe you could take that as like, okay, how could I fix my brand positioning? How could I fix my content creation?
Fix your fucking product.
How could I fix my product?
Like,
could I hire somebody to learn more and become a better coach so then my results speak for themselves?
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. If you're not getting results with clients, that's the first problem.
Yeah. Oh,
but
absolutely.
I can understand maybe the pain point of like, well, I don't have clients to get results with. Okay. You're going to get in that point of business where you're in this weird like crossover where you don't have enough clients to get new results and you can only post old ones, but you don't have the skill set to get acquisition. You're going to spend money on a fucking hormones course or go spend money on how to get clients. Figure out how to actually solve the problem, because you getting smarter doesn't help.
Yeah, this is a huge conversation that I want to quickly dive into. Skill stacking.
Mm-hmm.
If you are somebody listening right now and you own a business and you're not willing to learn how to run a business, what the fuck are you actually doing?
Yeah. See, I'm pretty aggressively polarized on this, that new PTs entering the industry, I think the Cert 4 is enough to start. I think the Cert 4 is enough to start even an online business. And like a lot of people that have been in the game as long as I have, they're all dinosaurs and angry. Like they're just all old men that go, oh, you should go be an in-person PT. You should go pay the gym rents. Like you are literally the old guy in 1999 saying the internet won't exist next year. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like we are in an industry now where the whole industry is shifting to an online model. If I had my time again, if I was entering now, I would not go pay a gym $300 a week in rent. I would fucking start an online business and pay $300 a week to a business person, minimum, to go learn how to run a fucking business. It's like sitting in a university hall talking, like having a business lecturer talk to you about business that's never built a business. Like, go fucking work.
Yeah.
It'll work. It'll help. And like, I've aggressively believed that the Cert 4 is enough to is enough skill set to work with Gen Pop, to work with just normal people that want to get less big, less fat, or more muscle. Yep. It's very simple. What you don't have is the marketing skill set, the business skill set, the sales skill set.
I agree. And this is a prime example, more so for like my mindset coaches, right? I see this happen all the time. You're a mindset coach. You don't believe in your skills as a mindset coach. So you hire another mindset coach to teach you more about mindset coaching whilst your business is not doing well, but you refuse to invest money into what is actually going to help you make money and have wider spread impact. Learn how to do business. It's like people just lick their wounds and they just expect a different result. Yeah. And I actually went to Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett, and he spoke about this, about the art of skill stacking. And I can't remember the exact example he used, but it was something along the lines of like, if he does like business building, right? And then he realized that all of his competitors didn't understand how humans behaved. So he went and did a psychology degree. So now he not only knows how to build businesses, but he also knows how to tap into human behavior and market and do all the things that then makes him 1% better than everybody else in his retrospective industry. And it makes sense. It's like if you're having a mindset coaching business and you want to be better than everyone else, instead of just trying to learn more skills upon skills upon skills that if we get really deep into it, you should already know because you're charging clients. So if you're charging clients and you say that you don't know what you're doing, that's charging people? Fucking daylight robbery, and that's lack of integrity, but that's a story for another day. But actually learn how to run a business. Learn the things that you need that will help you in the long term.
Yeah, I think in the world of like mindset's a very interesting one, because if you look at like, I don't know, like I don't know if there's really like any legitimized qualification that allows you to call yourself a mindset coach. Anyone can call themselves one, right? Yeah. Which means there's an industry problem and like a positioning problem from the start. People that enter that industry feel like they have something to prove. So I need to go do all these courses. I need to get these mindset mentors. I need to get all these people, because as a whole, my industry is viewed upon lesser because there is no like qualification that I can say I am this, which you're perpetuating the issue by being a part of it. Like if you're just going to pay more mindset people before you, like, really, if all you're doing is teaching down the ladder, like you said before, you only need to be one step ahead. So if you're helping people, let's say you're in the mindset world and you're going to be specifically for people who've gone through a breakup, coming out the other end. Have you gone through a breakup? Did you come out the other end? Are you happy? Are you stable? Tick those boxes. You can help someone do that thing.
Yep.
Like you don't need to help someone do everything. Yeah. Help them do the one thing, stack that skill set, and then charge for that.
Yeah.
Then get business opportunities and so on.
And it comes back to zone of genius.
Yeah.
It's like if you're being able to tap into your zone of genius, it's like, why do you need to learn every fucking mindset skill under the sun if that's not what you're coaching?
Yeah.
Like spend your money on better things that are going to make you be able to hire somebody else in your business so you don't have to do all of the marketing and all of the things that you don't want to do. Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. I watch it play out all the time. And then I also think it falls into the trap of like, you're a mindset coach who constantly needs to hire another mindset coach. Maybe you just don't know what you're doing. Also, maybe you're just not stable enough to be talking about mindset. Like if you're, like, I've suffered with anxiety, right? I've had anxiety, right? And been really bad to the point where I've been medicated and stuff. But I wouldn't be in a position back then to talk about managing anxiety. I would have no business doing that. If you're sitting in a place where you've got a mindset business, but every day you're having a panic attack about your own mindset, maybe something needs to be addressed there. Like maybe you need to go get a psychologist rather than a mindset coach. Absolutely.
Like on like a teaching mindset. Maybe you just need to go deal with your own.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's like sometimes part of it. Like, and that goes for business too. Like if you're teaching business and your business is failing, maybe you should just go fix your business.
Don't even get started on that.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about like zone of genius stuff and just skill stacking, because I think it's also like, I can speak from experience here. It's not always the thing you think you should learn that is the most helpful. Like with what Stephen did with going to do psychology. I had the most
example with us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're polar opposite in the way that we teach, but it's like different lens.
But right? I looked at your skill set and I thought I need to learn that skill set because I know eventually that's going to help my business.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big things we spoke about early on, a little off topic, but like when you're going down the road of only exclusively, because when we first started working together, you were a little bit more like the fluffier stuff, the mindset of stuff, right? And then the strategy was back end. And if like you always had the strategy skill set, you just didn't market it.
No.
Right? Because like your net was in the mindset world and the emotional intelligence of the business, right? But at some point, the people that are emotional when all you attract is emotional people, they have emotional businesses, and their businesses are hard to fix, and they blame you for the problems. So that's that shift of like, hey, maybe start talking more strategy first, because then you're going to attract more people that can do that and are prepared to. For me, it was NLP, neuro linguistic programming, like understanding how people respond to language. And it's NLP is a very nice way to say, I know how to manipulate a conversation.
Yeah.
Incredible for sales, incredible for business, incredible for positioning of a brand. That like getting qualified in NLP was the one thing that made Lions Don't Grow. That was like all the sale, all the everything else, all the just doing NLP and understanding people, game changer.
Absolutely. I did an NLP course, like a short course online, I think in 2021 when we were still in and out of lockdowns, because I had nothing else to do with my time other than coach and build my business. But I was like, what the fuck? Game changer. But also as well, like if you have any like basic level understanding around psychology. So when I went to uni, I did nutrition originally, but all my electives were business and psychology units.
Yeah, sick.
Not planned in any way. It's actually funny when I talk about that now, because I'm like, how funny that actually helped me.
Divine
intervention. But at the time I was just like, this sounds fun. I'll just add this to my list. Anyways, but learning more about human behavior, game changer for your business. Game changer. Instead of just going to a squat, deadlift and bench workshop.
Oh, fuck that. Like,
don't get me wrong. You want to be a good coach. Like I think
you got to be good, but there's levels of good.
Yes.
Like you can be good and like, and I hate the word good enough. Like I always say to my team, if it's good enough, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say that in the world of business, at least skill set for a PT, if you are good enough to coach Sally down the road that's a 40-year-old who just wants to move, you are good enough to charge for it.
Absolutely.
Like, and you can start there. You don't then need to go spend. I spoke to a guy about 6 months ago. Year over year for 3 years in a row, he'd spent over $100,000 on his education, right? Just through like extracurricular courses. So we're not even talking tertiary education, just to learn better like biomechanics, better hormone function. But all this is making 60 grand a year. So he was pulling from in his case, he was pulling from inheritance to just pay for extra education when his business was making nothing. It's like, and most of his clients, the fuck thing, 80% of his clients, I think we worked out to be 82% of his clients were in their first 12 weeks of like being in the fucking gym. None of them knew what a hormone was.
Yeah. And it's also, it comes back again to brand positioning, right? Because when I think of hiring a coach that is like elite in the industry, I'm not hiring a coach that's 1 year out of their Cert 3 and 4 who has then gone and done or spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their education around hormones.
You don't care. You need experience.
I'm looking for someone who's 10 plus years in the industry to teach me about biomechanics. So like you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's like, give it time to grow.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Become a really good coach. Learn how to coach people in a integral, sustainable way. But also you need to skill stack. Like, otherwise, what's the point?
I agree. Absolutely.
And also skills, like you said before, where it's like, you might not necessarily think you need them. Like when I came to you, my business was doing fine, right? Like I was making good money. Everything was growing.
You were happy. Yep.
I was happy, but I was like, I want to be better.
Yeah. There were holes that you just didn't know were there.
Yeah.
So I remember on our first call, you're like, I'm scared and excited.
I'm so scared of you.
That's funny.
That's on record, guys.
I remember when
you're actually the nicest human ever, but like, you know.
It's funny when I think we filmed a couple of videos together and you're like, oh, people thought I was like real scary. And you're like, no. But I remember our first call, you said, I'm really scared because you didn't want to know the problems. Like, because things were good. Like you were making good money. You just didn't want to know the other problems. But those problems are things that they're levels. It's like you can only be as good as as aware of your problems.
Absolutely.
Like,
and you highlighted all of them on call one.
Yeah. But that's all right. That's what we're here for.
I remember our first call, I was like, I am so scared. But honestly, it pays off because now the things that you've taught me, in the last 12 months, we haven't been working together for 12 months, but about 6. The last 12 months, I've made an extra $100,000 in my business. I've hit over $500,000.
You're out of the gym.
My business. I'm out of the gym.
That was a KPI. I was like, cool. I set the date. I was like, you're out of the gym on this day.
And we did it. We actioned it. Everything's good. I also increased my monthly revenue by $7,000 from passive income, where it doesn't really require me to be doing any sort of work other than the building of that originally.
Yeah, but that's a DARE product. You've done it once. It's digital, automated, recurring, and evergreen. Done.
And it's like, without that, I'd probably just be doing the same shit that I was doing. But this is like, it just makes sense.
I think one of the biggest things I said to you was like, hey, you're positioning yourself as this really good business mentor, but you're still trading time for money in the gym. Doesn't make sense.
That was
and it was like light bulb moment, like, Because I like you even said, you're like, I just do it because it's fun. I enjoy the people. Like I enjoy the social interaction. I liked it. Like my OG girls, it's fine. It's not a lot of time, but I said it's like it's pulling you in another direction. One, from your time, but two, brand positioning.
Absolutely.
If you're this big business mentor, why are you in the gym?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was totally me holding on to fear. Like when I look back at that, it was like the thing that built my business, when I think about my business being built, was me being on the gym floor.
Is you. It's like it's you're giving your effort, your time.
Yeah. And I started by being on the gym floor with no clients. Within 3 months was fully booked out. And I was like, well, that's the thing I'm fucking good at.
Yeah. That's what most people hold on to though. And you look, I've done it, you've done it.
Yeah.
And I think it happens at every phase in business, whether it be going from gym floor to online, whether it be going from online to, hey, I don't want to manage my finances anymore. There's always someone better for the job.
Yeah.
And your time is almost always spent somewhere else. Like, especially coming from service.
Oh, it makes complete sense. But also as well that like one pushed me very far outside my comfort zone when we had that conversation. I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. But then I look to what I've done in that time not being on the gym floor. Like, why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah. Well, what like from, and this is just like top level, it's allowed you to build out automated product. It's allowed you to invest in other companies. It's allowed you to grow your actual business stuff. Like that extra time has gone far better in leverage than just trading it for a couple $100.
Literally. And like when I think about it, I'm making an extra $700,000 passive.
700.
I wish.
That'd be great.
$7,000 per month passive income.
Yep.
Versus being on the gym floor.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That $7K a month, that would outweigh what you're making in the gym floor, correct? Because you weren't making much on the gym floor.
Oh, like I don't know the exact figures. I'm really bad at math, but a lot more than what I was making on the gym floor.
Like the gym floor was like, as I said, it was a social experiment for you. It was
five
just
clients a week or 6 clients a week on the gym floor.
So it was maybe making you $1,500 to $2,000 a week.
Maybe. No, probably not even. Like
what were your prices?
$100 a session.
Oh, so you're making like $500 a week.
So $2,000 a month versus $7,000 a month.
Yeah.
You guys do the
quick math. Like it's now no time and far more profitable, and that's just taking a leap of faith. Like, well, fuck it, I need to prove it.
And it's also backing yourself. Well, and this is why, like, I will bang on about mentorship until the cows come home.
Agree.
And even if, for example, you taught me nothing in terms of skill set, right? Like, just say that happened. It's having a soundboard. It's when I'm literally having a fucking anxiety meltdown and I'm like, Rhys, I feel like shit this week. Nothing's working. And you're like, all right, back to the drawing board. Let's actually debunk this.
But also, are your feelings true?
This is exactly it.
Like,
or are you just being dramatic?
Like, I remember like it was a couple of weeks ago. I was like, what's the data say? What's the lead flow? What's the acquisition? You're like, oh, actually, I had someone come in today. Oh, I had another person come in today. Like,
and then I messaged you. I was like, oh yeah, I'm up for the month. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah. That was just me being in my feels.
Yeah, which happens. Like it's I probably position myself as the mentor that like fuck the feelings, do the stuff, whatever. Feelings exist, right?
Yeah.
But it's just trying to at some point quantify whether they are actually factual. Like, are your feelings a representation of the numbers, or are your feelings a representation of the discomfort?
I actually think this is a nice reflection for you caught on camera. This is the only nice thing I'm going to say, so savor this moment.
I will.
I actually think a good reflection for you is you come across as this person who doesn't care about like fuck their feelings, do whatever. But in times when I'm like, holy fuck, and I plug into you and you can actually debunk that for me is super helpful. So like, yes, the feelings are like, fuck it. But also in those moments, you're like, okay, cool. Like I understand that you're feeling like this, but let's actually make sure that we're doing X, Y, and Z and it's quite grounding, which is a really good thing.
I think it's just applied logic.
Yeah. But it helps so much, especially in those moments, because you probably have other clients who are the same.
Oh yeah. And I do it too.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong. I have moments where I'm like, holy fuck, everything's crumbling. And like, it's very hard to be my own soundboard in that. So that's where I'll kind of turn to my team and be like, hey, what's going on here? And I agree, like having that point of logic, that bird's eye view, someone detached, helps a lot.
Yeah. And like, even if, like I said, if you taught me nothing in terms of skill sets, right? But just having you as a soundboard, in my opinion, is worth the money, the time, it's weight in gold, because it's like when I'm having a fucking meltdown, because we all get there, it's like you can be the person that's like, let's pull the fucking logic out for a second, have a breather, all is good, you're great at what you do, continue moving.
Yeah, let's like, what can we actually focus on? What's changeable?
Yeah.
What do you like when it comes to your clients? Like, obviously, you're dealing with the strategy, you're dealing with the I guess mindset stuff at the same time. What's your like process of elimination of how do you figure out these problems? How do you help them? What's some of the take homes?
I think for me, it's like, firstly, always figuring out where they're actually at in their business and then being able to meet them where they're at.
Yep.
So I think a very big misconception is like hiring a business mentor means you're going to make your first 7-figure year within 2 months. It's like, that's very rare, but you need to be able to have a tailored approach with your clients. So understanding where they are, where they're at, where they want to be, and being able to meet them in that, but then also being able to uncover the actual shit that's holding them back. So I think a big thing is people come in being like, lead generation's my problem. But their problem is actually the fact that they've built no momentum. They don't trust themselves. They're afraid of judgment. They're not authentic. They're copying everybody else, whatever the story is. So it's like, even just being able to highlight and reflect that back to clients is a really powerful thing if they can't see it. Another thing that a lot of people come in with is like they have a product and then they want to add like 80 different products onto the product.
Yeah.
Because that product's not working. But it's
so it just becomes this stacking of products where you're just rebranding everything and
Yeah. And then it's also like, why is that product not working? So figuring out what the actual root cause of that is, and then also having a tailored approach. I think I've heard horror stories in the business mentoring industry where it's like one size fits all. Like giving somebody a social media strategy where everyone's posting on their stories the same thing every day doesn't help with making you stand out.
No.
Again, you fall into the noise. And this is something that I get asked a lot actually when people inquire, like, will you give me like a social media strategy? Like, will you tell me what to say? Absolutely not. Because it needs to come from your brain, from your mouth, in your authentic voice, and it doesn't need to be filtered through a coach.
Yep.
Because what happens when I'm not there to help you?
So here's the thing, right? You've got clients that, we'll use a personal trainer as an example. They would feel, hopefully, if they've got some sort of ethics behind them, somewhat uncomfortable operating out of their scope. If a 8-month pregnant woman came to them and said, hey, I want you to manage my nutrition for my last phase of pregnancy and postpartum so that I'm completely healthy. If you're a Cert 4 qualified PT, you probably shouldn't take that, right? That's very out of your scope. Let's say it's someone that's got, some sort of endocrine dysfunction and they've got all these problems. Like, you probably shouldn't take that. You're going to feel really uncomfortable. Outside of scope. Same goes when it comes to business mentoring. My zone of genius, my scope is I can scale, I can strategize, and I can really fuck with like the growth of your business. Social media, I can tell you to do more. I can give you KPIs. I can say you need to do call to actions like this. You need to structure this, but your actual social media management, not my game.
Yeah.
Like, I have a team of people that I can outsource it to.
Yeah.
So sure, if you want that included to your mentoring price, we can do it. It's going to come at a way higher premium because I'm going to go pay someone else to do it and I'm going to take a 5% clip. They're just going to come into our chat. They're going to manage your shit, but they're going to do it because it's not me. And it's scope of practice. And I think the social media side of things, like people they come to a business mentor expecting a one size fits all, a one-stop shop. There are people that are one-stop shops, but in those one-stop shops, you're getting a cookie cutter approach where everyone's got the same thing.
And you can see it. It's the same thing. It's like back to the conversation we had at the start of this podcast. It's the same thing. It's like you can see the people that copy the people that are doing better than them because they think that that's going to lead to this success. It's the same thing if you have a business mentor who is just doing that cookie cutter approach. You can see who is your business mentor because you literally are talking about the same thing on your stories as the next person. And again, it doesn't make you stand out.
Nope. Yeah, it's funny as well because 9 times out of 10, those people that you think are doing really well are fucking doing shit. Like, I've got people on my books that like have large followings, like north of 150,000 followings. And I saw that inquiry come through. I'm like, oh, fuck, they're going to be killing it. Nope. Like, just average. Okay, cool. Let's fix shit. And they do. There's, granted, in those situations, far more opportunity for growth and easy levers to pull. But often their perception is better than the reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, be careful who you copy from because like you could be copying from someone that's failing. Just do you. Do you have any, like, if we were talking, let's say, social media, client acquisition, 3 tips, quick fire ones that people can just go and implement straight away?
Yeah. Find your zone of genius, number one. Understand what makes you different from the next personal trainer, mindset coach in line. You just saying, I'm a mindset coach that helps people unlock their potential is not enough. You need to actually tap into what is your zone of genius. And the way that I would do that would be understanding what you're good at teaching. So look at your clients. What do they tell you that you always help them with?
Yep.
What do you believe in? Your core fundamental beliefs. So do you believe in calorie and macro tracking or do you not? Create content around that, right?
Yep.
Or do you believe in inner child work or you don't? Create content around that. Okay. Like me for meal plans. I fucking hate meal plans.
Mhm.
I'll say it till the cows come home. Right. Third thing I would also look at is, wait, what did I say? What do you believe?
Zone of genius.
Zone of genius. What do you believe? I've blanked.
Give me a third.
Wait, hold on. Zone of genius. What do you actually believe in? Your core fundamental beliefs.
Yep.
What are you good at? What do your clients tell you that you're good at?
Yep.
And then the third thing is, what do you enjoy coaching?
Yep.
Yeah. I did it the other way. Usually I do it the other way in my brain. So anyways, what do you actually enjoy coaching? So that's how I would figure out your zone of genius. Those 3 questions to ask yourself. So zone of genius would be number 1. Another thing is looking at your brand positioning. So are you seen as a leader in your industry? Are you acting accordingly? Are you going out every weekend getting fucked up and posting it on your stories and then wondering why people are not inquiring with you? Are you actually being your authentic self? So that brand positioning part, and then get good at having innovation in your business. Stop just copying what everyone else is doing. For example, if you're launching an 8-week challenge and you just post like 3 days till launch, 2 days till launch, 1 day till launch, and then it's just a video of you talking about your 8-week challenge that is a carbon copy of the next person who did an 8-week challenge, it's probably not going to do super great. Think of innovation. And I'll give you guys an example. We launched Side Hustle to CEO, which was my passive revenue thing that I was just talking about before.
Which is excellent, by the way.
Which is fucking great. You guys should get on it. Anyways. And we came up with an idea to market it really well. I got a cardboard sign. I stood on the side of the road looking like an absolute fucking dickhead with good morning to everybody except those people who still treat their side hustles like a business or whatever the fuck it said. That did exceptionally well.
Their business like a side hustle.
Their business like a side hustle.
Yeah.
That did exceptionally well because of the innovation in the way that I positioned what that product was going to be.
It's also looking at like, okay, market research. There's like, that's somewhat of a meme, the dude with the fucking cardboard. Okay, success leaves clues. That works. It went viral. Okay, cool. How can I take that thought and make it my own?
Yeah. So yeah, those would be the 3 things: zone of genius, brand positioning, and then getting innovative in your content creation and your marketing.
Cool. Tell me more about Side Hustle to CEO. What is it? How can people get involved in it? What are the main things that you teach in there? Yeah.
So it's my 6-month business development program, and it pretty much takes you in a position from just starting to your first $200,000 a year. So it's the blueprint of what I've done in my business and what I've helped other people do in their business to help them grow. It's a mix between self-paced modules and then monthly live teachings where I get in and teach on a particular topic. There is so many resources in there at the moment. I would say probably like 20 plus hours worth of content that you can watch, and that's ever growing, as well as copy and paste templates around contracts, social media, all of the things that you need. We also have Angie, who's my business manager. She helps you build landing pages inside of there as well. And there's also the option to upgrade where you can do monthly coaching calls with me one-on-one in your business as well.
So that ultimately becomes the one-stop shop that isn't cookie cutter, that allows all the templates that if you want to use them, but if you want implementation and change, you go work with you direct, and they can get that, I guess, more one-to-one personal vibe. Yeah.
And it's just not done in the industry. Like when I remember we came up with this idea, I was actually in Queensland. I remember I messaged you. I was like, I've got the best idea. And we full workshopped back and forth for like a couple of weeks building this out. And we were like, it's actually just not done in the industry.
Yeah. Even like the addition of having like, cool, you can teach landing page theory, having someone there to go build it, like save the person time, like here you go.
Incredible.
It allows like them to understand the theory, but then also save the time and just get it implemented. Really fucking cool.
Yeah. And it was really interesting on the launch of that because it's 6 months. It's quite a time investment, right? And I thought, oh, this will either do really well or it won't. But 6 months when you think about growing a business is a blip.
Yes.
Blip in growing a business, and it actually makes sense. And also when I think of the women who are in this who are just incredible, they're there to fucking work.
Yeah.
Because they've invested 6 months of their life into growing their business and learning and evolving and doing the work. And yeah, just the community in there is great. So
cool. Can we I'm going to throw you on the spot here. Can we organize some sort of free module, something for someone to come and listen to for Side Hustle to CEO that listen to this?
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Sweet. We'll throw out a link below in the thing. First module, a module, message you, something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll have something to kind of go click through.
You'll get access to something in Side Hustle to CEO.
There you go. Cool. We'll figure that out later. Thanks for the pod. Thanks for jumping in.
Thanks for having me again.
Congrats on growing your business. You're doing fucking cool shit and you're doing well. I'm proud of you.
Can you hold up my little sign? Okay. Guys, look. Is this recorded? Can people see this later?
Yeah.
Can you guys see this? This is going in my office. Do you want to know what it says at the bottom? Membership into the gold circle for growing your business to 500K plus in annual revenue. Thank you, Rhys.
Very welcome. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your effort. And see ya.
Bye.